What's up, you guys? Happy Wednesday. All right, I can't control my chair. I feel like my husband might have messed with it. But, all right, I want to talk to you guys today. I'm going to be totally honest because sometimes we all need a little kick in the butt and we need to actually take a look what's happening in our life and figure out why we're getting in our own way and exactly what we need to do to get out of our own way, okay? So, obviously, if you know my background, we work with athletes on everything, right? On nutrition, on movement, on exercise. I help business owners, I help entrepreneurs. But here's the thing. We are always going to be our biggest problem. We are going to be our biggest critic, and we're going to be the way that we're going to be the one that gets in the way of our success. Okay. So talk to multiple people over the last few days where they're like, oh, I have this idea or I have this thing. And then we get into it and they're like, but, right? Like I was just on one of my group coaching calls and I work with amazing people inside of this group and they all have those same things, and they have these stories and they have this, but I can't because, and yada, yada, yada. Here's the thing, you guys, is if what you're doing isn't working, you can't solve the problem from the same place that got you in that problem, right? So if you're like, okay, my business isn't growing. Well, what do you need to grow your business? Okay, well, maybe you need to make some phone calls. Maybe you need to meditate more. Maybe you need to take better care of yourself. Maybe you need to be sending messages on Facebook. Maybe you need to be connecting people. Maybe you need to get clear on your message. Whatever it is, you have to do the thing that you're not doing, right? And it's probably the thing that makes you uncomfortable. It's probably the thing that is outside of your comfort zone. If you're like, oh, my life isn't going the way it's supposed to go. Well, are you taking care of your health? Are you meditating? Are you doing breath work? Are you eating right? Are you exercising? Are you mindful of the thing that's going on in your life? Because one of those things is the missing piece, right? One of those things is the missing piece. Are you working on your mindset? Are you paying attention to your money stories? For almost all of us, when we start to move in a new direction, it's uncomfortable, right? And your body wants consistency, your life wants consistency. And so if you start to get outside your comfort zone, you're like, oh shit, I don't know what to do out here. I'm gonna go back to where I was, right? So you have to understand that as you start to get out of your comfort zone and you start to do things differently, it's gonna feel uncomfortable. It's gonna be scary. It's gonna be uncertain, right? That's okay. We gotta change our relationship with uncertainty as we start to do that, because the definition of insanity, you guys, is doing what you've always done and expecting a different result, right? So if you're like, but I've been doing all these things, with my nutrition for the last 5 months and nothing's changed. Okay, we got to try something different, right? I've been doing these things with my business for the last 6 months. I'm not where I want to be. Okay, we got to try something different, right? So you have to look at it and go, what's happening when I start to step out of my comfort zone? Okay, because for most of us, what happens is our stories show up, right? And I would say for 99% of us, whether we're talking about shifting our body, whether we're talking about shifting our business, whether we're talking about just having a different life, we have these stories, and most of us have an underlying lack of self-worth, right? Well, I can't charge that price because I haven't done XYZ. I can't be happy right now because of XYZ. I can't be proud of myself because of yada, 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 right? And so these stories are what we have to look at, right? I'm working with my group right now on money mindset and all that kind of stuff. And it's there's two sides of money. There's the spiritual side of money. There's the energy side of money. And the other side of it is the real actual part of money, right? What are you doing with your money? How are you spending it? How are you not spending it? How much are you making? How much do you want to make? Where are you at, right? And so it's understanding that these stories show up. Well, I can't charge $5,000 a month. And I'll ask my clients, I'm like, why not? And they go, because they never have, right? And so it's and somebody else is okay, I want to start this business, but I can't because, well, why not? Because you haven't done it yet? Everybody that's gotten somewhere in this world has gotten to the point where they see an idea, they see something that they want to go after, they make a plan to go get it, they probably fall on their face 5 times, they get back up and they keep moving, right? But it's the stories that are going to show up and go, well, I can't because, well, I'm not good enough because, well, I can't be proud of myself yet because, I can't be happy yet because, I can't, all of these stories. You got to take a second and bring some observation and awareness into your life and go, well, why am I thinking that, right? Why do I believe that? Why do I feel that? Is that my story, right? Top 3 favorite questions. Is this true? Is this real? And is this mine, right? And so if you've got this idea or this thing or this goal and you start to make progress and you fall back into where you were, you have to go, okay, well, what's happening? Is this true? Is this real or is this mine, right? And then you go, well, what's the story? Why do I have this story? Why do I have this belief that XYZ can't happen or, it has to go perfectly or I might fail or whatever, but it's our stories and our patterns and our habits that almost every time keep us where we are. right? And so what I want you guys to encourage you to do is find some observation, like observe your life, observe your thoughts. And when you have these recurring thoughts, you're like, why am I thinking that? Where does that come from? Like, what happened to you when you were 7 that you were like, I don't think I'm worthy, right? I don't think I'm worthy of love. I don't think I'm worthy of abundance. I don't think I'm worthy of success, right? And like, what are those stories, right? And with stories, you guys, come protectors, right? Protectors are so real when we're getting outside of our comfort zone, right? Protectors come in and go, this is a bad idea. This feels scary. This felt like what happened to you when you were 4 years old. I'm going to go back to where we were, right? So protectors, you're starting to build a business and you're like, I'm putting stuff out there and I'm doing the thing and I'm following my passion, and somebody said they didn't like what I posted and maybe I'm not doing it right. I think I'll just kind of retreat and I'm going to go back to what I was doing. No, that's the opposite. If somebody doesn't like what you're doing it exactly right. Because that means like you have to have haters to have followers, right? If you're like wanting to walk the line where everybody loves you, you're never going to grow as a person, right? So decide who you are, what are you doing, and how do you do that? And pay attention when those little mishaps happen, right? Because those are just roadblocks to your ask, right? So your ask is, you say to the universe, I want to have this, right? I want to build $1 million business, right? And you start to build this $1 million business and COVID happens. And you're like, oh, well, it's not the right time. Maybe this wasn't it. Maybe this wasn't meant for me. And that's the universe testing you, right? And then you go, oh, no, I am dedicated to this. This is what I said that I want. That's just a hurdle. I'm going to jump over it and I'm going to get to where I want to go, right? It doesn't matter where this is in your life. Protectors are going to show up. Stories are going to show up. So you need to have a way to understand awareness, what's happening in your life, observation, what are you thinking and feeling? And then you need to understand, what are your stories, right? You should always be diving into, what are your stories? What are your beliefs? How are they stopping you? What are the thoughts and the feelings associated with them? And how do you shift them, right? And then you get to go, okay, what are my protectors? How do they show up for me, right? And for most of us, we need somebody from the outside that's going to go, that's a protector. That's a story. That's an old belief. That's not serving you, right? You need somebody to ask these questions, because so often, like, they come in and take over before we even know what's going on, right? We don't even know that it's happening, right? So find somebody in your life, whether it's a coach, whether it's a group of people, whether it's whatever, that can like see your vision for you, hold you to it, give you some guidance, but more than anything, ask you questions. Like, where does that come from? Is that yours? Is that real? Is that true? Maybe we need to take this road, right? Maybe you thought you were going that way. Turns out you're going this way, right? Like, but you've got to find a way to catch yourself in those moments of grief and struggle and like, maybe I just can't do this. It's not for me, blah, blah. And you have to go, okay, this is just the roadblock to my ask. And if I want to be the best version of myself, there's going to be some hurdles. And if I want to have the best business that I want to have, there's going to be some hurdles. So what can I do right now? What's the smallest step I can do right now to get myself moving in that direction, right? And how do I redirect my vision? And how do I keep my goals on the same line? And who do I need that's going to hold space for me and make sure that I can actually do that, right? Because once you get that stuff in line, it starts to feel easy, right? And you're just curious. You're like, that's an interesting story. Like, I have them. I'm doing stuff right now that's outside of my comfort zone. And I'm like, I don't know, that's a little bit scary, right? Like, so, but you have to keep reaching for that. You have to keep going, well, what is that story? Why do I believe that? Is that true, right? And most of the time you come back to, no, it's just fear. It's just uncertainty, right? And so shift your relationship with uncertainty. Like, can you make uncertainty fun? Can you just care less about if you do it and you fail, who cares, right? Like, so start to change that relationship and have some awareness around that, you guys, and everything in your life is going to change, whether it's being your best version of yourself, whether it's growing your business. And I'm going to, again, like in the Invincible Entrepreneur, you guys, you cannot be the best. You cannot have the business you want, but without being the best version of yourself. Okay. Because eventually that's going to catch up. So work on you, work on your business, and everything's going to grow and it's going to be easy and it's going to feel good. So, little rant for today. I just see so many people going through this and I've done it myself way too many times. So I just wanted to remind you guys, like, have some awareness, have some observation. Don't judge yourself. Go for the goal and just figure out a way to make it happen, right? And if you need help, you need support, you need like whatever you need through that journey, reach out to me. I'm happy to help you. If you're not in the Invincible Entrepreneur group, even if you're not an entrepreneur, the concepts are pretty much the same, whether you work for somebody or you work for yourself. So if you want to be a part of that group, let me know. I am going to do a whole live, an entire week of training starting on the 28th. We're going to talk all things about organic leads, engagement, finding your right client, and really how to grow your business. Okay. So if you're in that place where you're like, I really want to do this, come join me for that training. It's going to be totally free inside the Facebook group. If you're not an entrepreneur, but you know that you're called to do something bigger and you're like, maybe this is my time to do something, come jump in that group. We'll help you come up with some ideas and just make 2020 the best year it can be, right? The year's not over. The year does not suck. That is your choice, right? You have the chance to do what you want to do in this world and make it exactly what you want to be. So I hope you guys have a great Wednesday, and I will see you tomorrow.